When it comes to casting what could have been, Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof has one of the most fascinating lineups. Before Kurt Russell became Stuntman Mike, Tarantino had some big names in mind: Sylvester Stallone, Willem Dafoe, John Travolta, and yes, even Kal Penn were all considered. But the most intriguing choice? Mickey Rourke. Tarantino himself has said that Rourke was actually his first choice for Stuntman Mike. The director revealed in an interview that Rourke was on board and ready to do the film, but then his agent started playing hardball. According to Tarantino, Rourke's team began making demands, acting as if Rourke was in a position where the production needed him more than the other way around. Frustrated by the back and forth, Tarantino finally gave the agents a hard deadline, and when they let it slip by, that was the end of it. Rourke was out, and the search for Stuntman Mike continued. The idea of Rourke as Stuntman Mike makes a lot of sense when you think about it. First off, Rourke's got that battle-worn look. Years of boxing and rough living have left his face looking like he's been through the ringer, which would have suited the character perfectly. An ex-stuntman turned psycho? Rourke wouldn't have just played the role, he is the role. He's the kind of guy who looks like he's been hit by a car and kept walking, which is kind of the whole point of Stuntman Mike, right? Physically, he'd bring a grittier, more menacing edge to the character, and he wouldn't even have to try. Rourke's career was also in the middle of a resurgence around that time, with Sin City and The Wrestler bringing him back into the spotlight. Working with a director like Tarantino, who has a knack for reviving careers, see John Travolta, Pam Grier, and David Carradine, could have given Rourke yet another major notch on his comeback belt. It's fun to imagine how Rourke, with all his baggage and tough guy energy, would have shaped the role. What makes him such an interesting what-if for Death Proof is how much his own life mirrors the character. Stuntman Mike is a washed-up guy clinging to past glories, using his skills in the most twisted way possible. Rourke, with his tumultuous career, did you know he turned down at least 10 roles in movies that became classics like Top Gun, Rain Man, and Pulp Fiction? Could have easily tapped into that same feeling. His version of Mike would have likely been more brutal, less charming, and probably a whole lot scarier than Russell's take. That's not to say Kurt Russell didn't kill it. He brought a swagger and charisma to Stuntman Mike that balanced the character's darkness. Russell's version of Mike has this charming, almost dad-like quality that lures the women in before he flips the switch and becomes a full-blown psychopath. He walks that fine line between being someone you might trust to drive you home and someone you definitely shouldn't have gotten into the car with. Russell's performance is a huge part of what makes Death Proof work. It's that subtle menace that creeps up on you until it's too late. Ultimately, casting is everything in a Tarantino film. He's a director who knows exactly what he wants and often pulls unexpected performances from actors in ways no one sees coming. Think about John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, Pam Grier in Jackie Brown, or even Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Basterds. All career-defining roles that revived or launched these actors into new stratospheres. Tarantino's instinct for casting is rarely wrong, and while Mickey Rourke as Stuntman Mike is a fascinating possibility, Kurt Russell's performance ultimately gave us a version of Death Proof that's hard to top. So yeah, we'll never know what Rourke could have brought to the role, but what we got with Russell, it's pretty damn perfect.